Hi everyone, it's Simone here. Wanted to come on to answer an interesting question that came up over the weekend. Could it be that you are unintentionally cutting off the flow of all the good that is meant to be for you? And that can happen without us being consciously aware. And I want to share something that happened over the weekend. I had a really interesting conversation with somebody that called me up and they wanted some advice about investing in something, in a program, so to speak. And I recommended the program because I had done it. And then the person proceeded to share a little bit about how everything was going in their business. And they were saying that sales that used to go really well over a period of time to the tune of multiple five figures in one single sale, all of a sudden had dramatically slowed down. So we're talking as friends, right? And obviously this is what I do professionally. So I asked, well, is there anything that you are doing differently than when you were making a lot of sales? That's always a great question. And the person initially said, no, you know what, I'm doing the same thing. And then it dawned on them that indeed there were a few things where they had been trying to cut corners, where they had made concessions, where they had even considered lowering their prices for the product, right? And also creatively making some changes to the product. And I said, hold it right there. That is where you are constricting. And when you constrict and you shrink, that constricts and shrinks the fountain, right? The source from where all the goods are coming from, because by law, we're meant to be expanding, right? We're not supposed to be shrinking. We're supposed to be expanding. That opens everything back up, right? So particularly when it comes to money, if you want to sell your product or service at a particular price point and you happen to be unwilling to spend a similar amount of money on somebody else's product or service because you feel like it's too much money, it's you want a discount, you want modifications, well, guess what? You're shrinking, right? And you're contracting, and you're also contracting the source of the good that is coming to you by doing that. So we're meant to be expanding. So during our conversation with this person, we were actually able to, after we identified what the problem is, to shrinking, right? And the not willing to give in order to receive, because that's one of the principles of receiving. One of the keys to receiving is that we have to give first in order to receive. And we can really not expect somebody else to invest in us and our product and service if we're not willing to do the same thing, right? And if we are trying to bargain with other people about what the cost of their product or service is supposed to be. So anyways, once that was clear in the conversation and the person decided, you know what, I'm holding on to my prices, and she gave herself permission to expand, right, instead of shrinking, what happened was immediately this person became aware of two opportunities that had been around her this whole time, where the person's product or services would be ideally positioned in front of the ideal client that is willing and able to pay the price. Willing because they appreciate the value the product has, and then able because they're also affluent enough to be able to purchase it. So the reason I'm sharing this with you today is because this does not just apply to your business or to money, right? If you think about it, this also applies to all other areas of your life. It could be a relationship. If you shrink, if you close down, if you shut down, what do you think is going to happen to the other person, right? They're going to shut down. If you allow yourself to be open, to be vulnerable, even though that doesn't feel good, and as a person who has her own issues with vulnerability, it's a process, right? And when you do, when you're open up, people will connect with you differently, right? Provided they're the right people. But you will see that this expansion of you to grow into something that might be really uncomfortable opens up a whole new possibility and a whole new perspective. So I wanted to share this with you because I thought it was a very interesting conversation. And, you know, sometimes it's just about gaining clarity because we are blinded by something. You know, we have blind spots, and sometimes all it takes is for another person to bring their perspective to the problem that we're experiencing and shine the light on it so that you can discover, oh my God, yeah, this has been in front of me this whole time. I just never looked at it from this perspective. I didn't look at it as an opportunity. Instead, I looked at it as where I wasn't willing to give or where I had a need to be right. So whatever that is for you, allow yourself to expand in your business, in your relationships, in other areas of your life. And you know, be willing to give in order to receive. And when the opportunity presents itself, you know, for me, typically when opportunity presents itself, it always means I have to spend money. I might have to get on a plane. I might have to pay for a hotel room. I might have to pay for a program. But when I do it, it does come back to me when I step into it. So I encourage you to say yes to opportunity, even though in the beginning you might have to give of your time, money, or resources. Because if it is in alignment with where you're going, the return on investment is going to be big. And if you have any questions about this, please post them in the comments below. Also, if you would like to have a conversation, if you're stuck somewhere and you would like to have a conversation like I had with this person over the weekend, well, within a half hour, we got this person to not only holding on to the price points, which is yay, right? Allowing themselves to expand and invest in themselves. They didn't sign up with me because this was a friendship conversation, but they were looking at investing in another program, right? And with that, opportunities became apparent, right? So if you are stuck somewhere, I'd love to invite you to have a conversation with me where you can gain that level of clarity so you know your next steps and you can get unstuck. If this is you, if this resonates with you, if you want to get unstuck, send me a PM or drop me a note in the comments and we'll figure out a time for you and I to talk. And again, the message is allow yourself to expand, okay? When you open up, the flow starts coming through again. All right, I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.